Okay, look, I'm not going to be on here for very long, actually. I've got an early start tomorrow, heading down to Bristol. But I wanted to come on and just talk you through um, what's been in my head for a while. Um, John, you would know about this and will know more about this, maybe on Thursday, but certainly moving forwards. I believe that there is a gap, a knowledge gap. And I might be wrong, it's just my opinion, and that's fine. It's just my opinion of how to develop bowlers over the long term. All right. There are a lot of really good creators out there that are posting some really good content, and we all get caught up with great information. But what I have found, even in my own coaching now, because I'm doing a lot of one-to-one. Well, I'm not doing a lot, actually. I'm doing one day down at Epsom College on a Sunday, and I'm doing one evening up here. But what I'm noticing is players are talking in a very advanced scientific way, which is fine. Some of them are far more intelligent than I am. So that's fine. And they're talking about hip shoulder separation, shin or knee dominant, and it's all really important information for coaches to know, but I'm not 100% convinced that it's important for players to know. So my approach is, it's my job as a coach to understand the science, what's the important factors, how can I coach the person in front of me, how can I use a language that is simple for the player that I am coaching to understand and do, to have a focus. That's the most important thing. And even when I was coaching pro players, they need simplicity because there's enough going on at that level. And actually, if you think about it, even at club level and youth level, there's enough going on in the game. If they're fully tuned into the game, there's enough going on. All players need to know is, what do I need to do next? That's it. What do I need to do that I am already good at that will win the next ball? I reckon that's it. So that's just my opinion. But there is a lot of really good information out there. And I was on a call earlier on today with a guy in Michigan, an adult player that was talking to me about hip shoulder separation, was talking to me about brace front leg, what he wanted to do with his front arm, all this kind of stuff. And he had a lot of really good simple basic foundations in place for his action, but I did feel that actually there were some other really important things that needed to be in place before you start looking at the advanced stuff. So in effect, what I'm saying is, I think that bowlers are looking to maybe chase a shiny object before they got the foundations in place. I know I've been in the same hall, coaches coaching reverse swing to 12-year-old bowlers before they've even learned how to present an upright seam. It's pretty pointless trying to coach reverse swing, although it's quite good fun. But basics, foundations need to be in place before you start layering in on these other skills. That is why, in my head for a long time, that has been extracted from a career that I feel very grateful for over 25 years, an 8-year long-term 8-year pace bowling program starting at 10 years old and moving through 2-year phases, 8 to 12, 13, 14, 8 to 12, 13 to 15, 16, what is it? 8, 12. No, sorry. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Then you graduate into, those that want to graduate into rookie contracts. Or simply, you graduate through the program and you end up being able to know you've learned how to run, move, great balance, upright seam, safe actions, um, construct an over, think clearly under pressure, and everything that goes within a long-term program. That's what's been in my head, and that is what I've started putting down on paper. Those that are paid subscribers, I'm revisiting this because a couple of months ago, I think it was before Christmas, I started talking about this stuff on live calls, and I shared my thoughts on each stage with those paid subscribers, with why I think it's important. So all I wanted to do, literally for 10 minutes, is just share some ideas. Um, we underestimate what we can achieve in the long term. We all do. But we overestimate what can be achieved in the short term. Shiny objects. There are no quick fixes that that are sustained. All right, it doesn't exist. And sometimes I think we get caught up in, well, I should be doing that. Now I should be doing this. Now I should be running in quicker. Now I should be going to the gym, all this kind of stuff, instead of focusing on one thing for a long period of time, for us to become good. And then you move on. So this pace bowling program isn't rushed. It is not reactive. It's not the next best thing. It is literally following a process, following a plan, based on what I've seen work. Male and female at all ages. And I've observed and learnt from some of the best. So the short-term stuff, the dangers are, overcoaching before foundations exist, technical fixes before and during growth spurts. And it is possible to tweak techniques whilst a bowler is growing, but you have to respect whether it's the legs that are growing or the upper body. And if it's the upper body, so the spine is growing, there are some really important considerations of how to change and tweak a bowling program to navigate through a growth spurt. Really important. I'm going through something similar with a young, talented fast bowler in New Zealand at the moment. And we're just kind of, we're tweaking the program. Uh, if you constantly look to increase the number of overs that a bowler is bowling and keeping a bowler that is growing in line with bowlers that are not growing, you could be asking for trouble. All right. We get quite excited about, tall bowlers and stuff, but I do think there's a phase where as coaches, we need to understand and respect growth spurts. And there are other things that we can work on with bowlers as they are growing, such as running techniques, such as tempo, such as strategy, tactics, field placings, all this kind of stuff, if they need to be pulled out of a session of high intensity bowling. Short-term coaching is what I'm going to call it. Confused bowlers. Injuries can be caused. Talented players can plateau or they drop out altogether because they just haven't got a clue who they are and what they could become, because there's no longer term kind of program. So the structure, this is just high level. I'm not going to give you all the detail here. But the structure, foundation stage, this is where I got caught up earlier on with the numbers. The foundation stage, my opinion, is 10 to 12. Learning how to run, jump, land, balance, upright posture, safe, repeatable actions, having fun. They have to have fun. The language of the coach needs to be so simple, it's ridiculous. You set up drills, you tell them what you want them to achieve, and they work out how to do it. But the drills are set up in such a way that it teaches them how to run towards a target, stay upright, and present an upright seam. It just takes a little bit of kind of creativity and planning, enjoyment, curiosity in games, linking movement to bowling without over teaching. We're not chasing swing or speed at this stage. What we are chasing is good movements, athleticism. Um, and I guess one question I put here is everything points towards one long-term question. Can this body handle fast bowling later? And then we move into the emerging stage, ages 13 to 14. This is where we start layering in. It's a bridge between movement and bowling. A clear stock ball, rhythm and flow through the run-up, simple tactical awareness. And then early kind of ownership, player ownership is, what did you notice about that? Do you think that was better or do you think that was worse? How was it worse? How was it better? Did it feel easier? Ultimately, the bowler starts understanding who they are, um, not necessarily who they can copy, although that's something I use quite a lot. Have you noticed the seam position on Mitchell Stark? Seam was wobbly, but it still swung. Just something like that, so is relevant, to the people that they're watching on TV. Then we move into the maturation stage, 15 to 16. This is where growth spurts, a lot of them happen. Rhythm can dip. You can see a bowler 1 week perform really well, and then 2 weeks later they are falling over, they're hitting the side net, they're doing all sorts of stuff because rhythm dips. And during this stage, confidence can wobble big time. They can stop enjoying what they're doing because they literally they don't have a clue what is going on. They've lost their seam position, they've lost their rhythm, they've lost their consistency. So this maturation stage is a really important one, and it does take coaches that need to understand and be knowledgeable about how to measure whether a bowler is growing and whether how to understand whether it's their torso, their upper body, or their legs. And what we're trying to do during this stage is often a lot coaches start panicking. They start to try and fix technique as the body is growing. So then the bowler continues to bowl, often at high intensity. They try and fix technique. Well, actually, the problem isn't technique at all. It's just kind of dampened down a little bit whilst the body is moving, is growing. So the priority in the maturation stage, really, I think, is protecting their identity, who they are, what they can become, protect that longer term vision. You work on their confidence, and they don't compare with their peers. And that's a difficult one often because they always do, right? Um, what we're trying to do is to keep going back to a stock ball that they can trust. What are the things that you do when you bowl your stock ball, particularly in their run up and how they enter the crease? Because you can still work on that without them delivering the ball. Okay, you can piece together the process. Helping bowlers understand that physical change is normal. The key message in the maturation stage is growth doesn't damage potential, never does. Misunderstanding growth, that does damage potential. All right, so that's the maturation stage. And then the performance stage, age 17 to 18, what you're doing there is you're turning skill into performance. I always use the analogy, so you've laid the foundation in the foundation stage, and what you're doing, you're laying things on top. Performance stage is literally the roof on the house. And by then, graduating through this kind of 8 years, know their role, trust the stock ball, have 2 or 3 variations, understand tactics, fields, and phases of the game. Understand what is the game telling me that it requires of me to win the next ball, to help my teammate. And they train in a way that looks like competition. All right. Because we train such a lot in the UK. What does that look like? I often think that training sessions can often kind of just be the same year on year, session on session. How are players getting better? And there's almost like a sliding scale where you don't stop teaching or coaching technique, but I think it's a sliding scale where at some point coaching of technique goes down and you start coaching decisions. This is what I'm going to bowl. This is what I've learned. This is what it's telling me. This is a game situation. These are the dimensions of the field. All this kind of stuff when they get through here, because that is performance. Just to the last couple of things here. Okay, so what the program's going to become? There's going to be my longer term vision for this is obviously players graduate through, but there's a coach education piece in here as well. So coaches learn the knowledge of how to coach at the various phases. So we'll see how that goes. And that's pretty much it. I just want to hop on. As the weeks progress, I'm just noticing the language from young players are very advanced, and that is no problem. But they are talking at a very advanced level without running well. It looks hard work, without being able to do a squat, without running in towards the direction of the target, without presenting an upright seam. And I just think that there is an obvious danger for me that we're chasing high-end skills without having the foundations. I would love your thoughts. So I'm going to continue doing some work on that. And John, I'm looking forward to our call on Thursday. Jimmy, totally agree. Exactly the same for amateur golfers, probably. Give me your thoughts on that. And I've literally got to go soon. Got to go and pack and have an early night. I've started wearing this Aura ring, and I absolutely love it. I'm not obsessed with it, but what this tells me is how I've recovered, how well I've slept, and I've been wearing it for long enough now. It kind of knows me. So at my age, I'm looking for all the help I can get. Give me your thoughts on what I've just said there about the taking the long term. An 8-year program for some people, a lot of people, can be quite difficult to get their heads around, right? Because we want to see results far quicker than that. But taking the longer term view, I think, is actually protecting players. I honestly believe that. If we are able to coach and teach the foundations, that is a gift that coaches, parents can give their son or daughter, and it will last them a lifetime. That's why I think it's important. Dean, my son is 12, and that's exactly what we've been concentrating on. It's working. Brilliant. What exactly have we been concentrating on, Dean? Which of those foundations? Look at the Indian batters and bowlers that we see on TV now. It's like a factory. You see these pictures of, and I'm not saying it's right nor wrong, pictures of young kids all lined up, batting very similarly, bowling very similarly. But I tell you what, they're doing something right. I'm not saying I don't honestly believe that you can coach two people the same way, but there are some common basics, foundations that I think you can coach very similarly. Running straight towards target, got the straight line out, got the string line out, brilliant. The string in my coaching bag is one of the most commonly used things. Keeping it right. Yeah, good. Adam, good to see you. Mate, I hope you're rehabbing well. I've got your message. I'll sort that out this evening after this call. And I hope you're going well, mate. Yeah, listen, I just want to hop on tonight. All right. I appreciate all of your support. I'm going to be sharing more and more with my inner huddle group. So if you are interested in receiving more resources from me, there is a way to get more access to me. just worth considering. If it's not for you, it's not for you. But I'm going to be doing more and more work on this 8-year program. And at some point, I am going to be delivering it to the players and to the coaches. Okay. Anything else before I go and clear up all these dinosaurs that Seb and Raf have left for us to clear up? Okay, listen. Again, I've hopped on tonight with very little notice. Yeah, John, good man. Very little notice. So if I disturbed anything, I apologize. This video, I believe, will be emailed out to everybody, and I'll share some clips as well. Thanks as always. Never take your support for granted ever. And I am on a bit of a mission, not even a bit of a mission to help players and coaches if they wish to be helped by gaining some insights of what I've seen, experienced, heard, witnessed, without crossing any lines, because I will never betray the trust of the people that I've worked with. But there are many lessons that I have learned that apply to everybody at every age, every gender, every level, and with every ambition, whether it's professional cricket or whether it's just curious as to seeing how good they could be, even if it's just turning out with their mates on a Saturday. All right. Thank you for hopping on. Appreciate it. Have a good one.